You've all been waiting patiently for us to begin. Welcome, bloody welcome, and thank you for tuning in to another live Sunday chat. And
Sunday chat!
Jesus, Mary Mother of God.
I love it when you do that.
If you are watching the replay later, this Sunday chat is live.
Sunday chat!
Not again. Stop. Calm down. This Sunday chat is live at the moment, and it's structured slightly differently. So we spend the first part of the show saying hi. So we're going to do that now. Yeah, Paul, just tap the bloody screen.
I want to make sure it's on live chat. There we are.
Okay.
There we are.
So let's say hello to a few people. Can't see the one at the top. Can you?
That's coffee. It's always coffee
hi,
at the
coffee.
top. We've
hello.
got tea.
Shush now, Paul. Hello, Nicole, Gillian, Nancy, Tango, MC, Miles, Ashley. Hello, Manchester, Ashley. Debbie from Yorkshire. Tango's from Mid-Atlantic, USA. John, good morning from Scotland. Hi, Scotland.
Scotland.
Hello, Carol.
Scotland. Oh, I love that.
Shush now, Paul, honestly. Carol, Linda, Monica, Claire, Diana, Linnell, Trandans, Kelly, Betty, Maxine, Bridget, hello. Nicola.
Nicola.
Julie.
Gosh, piling in.
G.L. Hunter, Dean, Andrina, what a lovely name. Jennifer, and the Herbalist Cottage. Our soul from the northwest of Ireland. So welcome, Dorothy, Martin. Hello.
Who was it? Tango Elliott? Did you say you're Mid-Atlantic? Surely Mid-Atlantic. Yeah, Tango, Mid-Atlantic, USA. What do you think that means?
You're in the middle of the sea.
Yeah, that's what I think. You're in the middle of the sea. Are you on a cruise? Are you on a cruise?
Good morning, Andy. Hello to Sally and Andy. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. We have 55 people watching at the moment. Thank you very much. On this lovely, damp, wet Sunday morning.
Grim,
Paul. You can't trill your R's.
I can't
very well,
say
so
my R's.
Don't bother doing it if
I
you can't say
my
it, Paul.
R's.
No, don't.
I have a speech impediment, so thank you for taking.
I don't really think you
taking the mickey out of my speech.
I don't think you have a speech impediment, Paul.
I can say things like troll.
Well, who goes troll? Who says that?
You just did.
Well, I do occasionally.
Yeah, but there are certain R's that I can't do. Yeah.
Good morning, Louise.
I wonder where Atlantis is.
Atlantis. Well, there's several theories about Atlantis, aren't there?
Isn't one that it's in the Med? I mean, Atlantis could be sort of anywhere because the Earth's crust has moved so much over millennia. Though, of course, humans haven't been around for millennia, have they?
Because of tectonic plate action.
Yeah, absolutely. And then rubbing against each other, and then getting angry and parting.
Yes, that sounds like you and I.
Absolutely, yeah. We're gonna have do Sunday chat split at some point, I think.
With a COVID screen.
Before we
Shush now,
before
Paul,
we move.
Honestly. Well, yes.
Yeah, there we are.
Absolutely. Let's not go into that territory.
It does rhyme. It does rhyme with cottage, though.
Because,
of course.
Yeah. Because you know.
And is it St George's Day? Someone said it's St George's Day. Is that England, isn't it?
I have no idea what day it is today, but I do know that we've just had Eid. So Eid Mubarak to those of you who celebrated Eid. I think it's finished now.
Yeah, last night.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. Lovely. So yes, thank you. Welcome. Thank you. To all of you for tuning in. We have 68 people watching now. Let's get on with the show, Paul.
Weather.
Richard and Paul's weather report.
Yeah, it's April showers, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's kind of traditional English weather.
I think it is British.
British
Weather.
British.
Even though it's St George's Day, we're British.
British
Of
weather.
course, you're English, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Where were you born?
Well, I'm, yes, born and bred in England.
British, which is why you wear Union Jack
But
underwear.
my DNA has determined that I'm actually only 22% British. Actually, I'm mainly Western European. I know, exotic.
Weren't you a bit Irish as well?
I am a bit Irish.
Yeah.
I'm a bit Irish. I am a little bit Scandi as well.
Yeah, you're a little bit Scandi for sure.
A little bit Scandi.
Absolutely.
A little bit of Spanish as well.
That's
where I get my hot temper from.
Well, no, that's the photo that you shared with me. It was the first photo Richard shared with me. I think it was in Greece, wasn't it?
No, it was Spain.
It was Spain. And it was him with his lovely, dark, luscious black locks sitting on a terrace looking all sexy and sultry, wasn't it?
Yes, when I was young.
Yeah.
And had
sexiness and sultriness.
Yes. Gone are those
Oh
days.
no,
Now
you're just grumpy.
Now I'm covered in paint, leaves, and prone to doing bouts of plumbing and fixing in the house. More on that later. Because it's been another one of those weeks. What's broken this week in the Richton Poole household? Several things. Yeah.
And thank you for asking about my DNA breakdown, Richard.
You haven't had your DNA breakdown?
Yes, I have.
Have you?
99% French and not 1% other. That's what it was.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it went wrong, Paul, with you. I think it went wrong. It's the London Marathon today. Oh, goodness me. I've never, ever taken part in a marathon and I've never even seen one.
It just exhausts me watching it,
I
literally.
think those people are complete and utter crazies to do a marathon.
Well, of course, it's a huge charity thing, isn't it? They raise millions and millions and millions for charity.
I know that, Paul. I'm not dissing it. I'm just thinking they're crazy.
Wasn't there one, somebody used to do it every year in a different sort of really odd suit. He did it in a space suit one year, and then one year he did it in a diving suit, a real diving suit. And I think, didn't it take him 4 days to complete it? Yeah. But he raised a huge amount of money, so that was great.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that people do that, but I think they're crazy. I mean, I could not do it. I'm not fit enough. I mean, I would die halfway through.
Oh, yeah.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, sadly. So let's move on. So yeah, weather. It's been another cold week here in London, apart from a couple of afternoons when the sun came out and it got quite warm.
So it's been a cold week, apart from sometimes where it's been quite warm, which is typical April weather, basically.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And actually, it's kind of like the April weather used to be years and years ago. I mean, we've had a couple of warm Aprils recently.
We've had a couple of hot Aprils, hot and dry Aprils.
And I think we were spoiled by that, Paul. I do. So. I remember as a child, we used to go to my grandfather's caravan on Anglesey. And it was usually for a good, it was 2 weeks, And sometimes you would have good weather, but more often than not, it would rain for 2 weeks and you'd be stuck in a caravan or playing on wet sand dunes.
Oh, I quite like that.
Well, it's not so much fun playing on wet sand dunes because the sand does stick to you a little bit more than it does when it's dry.
Well, yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely.
And Mum used to go berserk when we used to walk all the sand into the caravan.
Yeah, somebody said something. And also, yes, there's various marathons around the UK. The London one is, I think, the biggest one. Then is the Great North Run one, is that Manchester? There's various ones and various sort of 10 kilometre, 20 kilometre. I mean, a huge amount of money is raised through people doing sport each year, that's for charity. And of course, a huge amount of money is taken out of the sport each year by big football owners. owners of football
You've
teams.
said words like run and football. I go into a coma automatically. Yeah.
Oh, I remember the what do you call it? Cross country running we used to have at school. I mean, it. Oh, I hated it. I hated it. I wasn't the right shape for it. Maybe if I'd run a bit more, I would be the right shape. But I wasn't the right shape. I didn't have the stamina. It was just, and it was always in grim, wet weather, and we'd be trunching through, Dwits in Guernsey and things like that, and getting so muddy and wet. And it was like a punishment doing cross country running.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
know why it
remember
couldn't
it.
happen in the spring when there were sort of lovely flowers out and things like that. It always seemed to happen in the depth of winter.
Well, it was to
Yeah.
build your resilience, Paul.
Well, it failed.
Character building.
Yeah, it failed. Totally.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
I used to take a little bit of change in my pocket and pop down to the newsagents and buy a single cigarette.
Did you?
Yeah.
And there was a marathon runner who got in a car this week.
In the news, that's
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
Somebody did most of the run in somebody's car because she'd
No, not most of the run. I think it was only a short bit of the run, but it was because she was unwell.
Well, didn't they work out that? Yeah, but she didn't say that though, did she, or something? I don't know.
No,
I don't
I
know
thought
the
that
full
was very
story.
odd.
Don't quote us on this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Paul. Your theory's not working.
No, it's not. No, the
No.
chat's not coming up today. Yeah.
No. There we are.
Holiday makers in the Lake District. Well, yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's just disappearing
Yeah.
this
Well,
week.
Paul, stop messing around with it. Honestly.
No.
There we are. Let's just have a little look.
You've done that.
Well, I won't run for anything. I remember a couple of years ago when I was carrying a little extra weight, I remember thinking maybe it's time to start running. Yeah, so I thought I'm going to run just this length on the way home. I'm going to just run a little bit. And I suddenly felt all these things moving, wobbling. And
What,
I
your
thought,
boobies?
what is that? What is it? Are my clothes particularly heavy today? And I realised it was all my fat wobbling. And I hadn't experienced that before, and it felt very uncomfortable. And that's one of the things that spurred me on to losing some weight.
Was it? It wasn't me going on Weight Watchers and just feeding
No,
you whatever I had.
that was the action that
Okay.
occurred.
Okay.
I bought into it.
Yeah.
And it worked. Yes, that's Weight Watchers by Weight Watchers. I just can't go on.
I have to
loss
say,
journey.
Weight Watchers has
How about that?
always worked for me. I know it doesn't work for other people, but though I am on a plateau at the moment,
Good.
I'm sitting at 16 stone 10, give or take a pound, and have been for about 2 months.
I've not weighed myself. I've got no
Well,
idea.
You don't
No
weigh
idea
yourself.
what I weigh, but I know I'm lighter.
Yeah.
And I know I can. Well, I go on belt notches,
Yeah.
belt
Yeah.
holes.
Yeah.
So for the majority of the past 3 years, I've been on number 2.
Right.
Now I can get up to number 5.
Right.
That tells me I've lost weight. That's lovely.
So that tells you you've lost possibly between 3 and 4.5 inches off your waist.
Well, I've gone back to a 34.
You haven't.
Yes, I have.
You haven't.
My trousers are hanging off.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to get in more underwear. Yeah.
And the underwear doesn't fit any longer. You see that arrow there?
Yeah. I know what that arrow does. Yeah.
So let's just say good morning to a few people who've joined us recently. Good morning, Vegan Runner. Good morning, Gav Gav. Pamela. Hilltop Farm, good morning. Beverly, good morning. Stephen. Lovely. So, weather, not so great.
No.
Although this morning I braved the rain and got out into the garden. Hello, Jane.
Hi, Jane.
That's Jane Kelly from Jane's Growing Garden. Thanks for joining us, Jane. Hope you're well. Good morning, Donna. So I've been out in the garden weeding because the weeds have taken over, although they look quite pretty.
They do.
Look pretty.
Of course they do.
So I've left a few as ground cover, but I found there were a lot of cleavers.
Yeah.
Those sticky weeds. I think cleavers always sounds like a posh country estate.
Well,
Don't you think?
Well, yeah.
Darling, are we going to Cleavers this weekend? Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yes.
you do.
Yeah.
Lovely. So
Yeah.
there we are.
But
So
it's not.
I'd been gardening and yeah, I had to stop because the rain was coming down and I was getting wet. Well done, Tony. Good.
Yeah, rides at Universal. That's fairground thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Theme park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, Paul. Well done. So yeah, gardening this morning. The rain, I think, has set in until the afternoon now. So I won't be doing any more of that, but it's time to do more work in the house. Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking what I have done this morning.
What
Richard.
have you done this morning, Paul? Apart from serving as a croissant.
Yeah,
We had a
yeah.
croissant.
More of that later. More of that later. So I have washed the bathroom floor, wiped the bathroom
You've
floor.
wiped it. God.
I've wiped it and I've cleaned it and I've hoovered it.
Yeah.
And then I thought I better actually do the fridges. So I've done the fridges this morning as well.
Well done, Paul.
So so they were in need of a bit of a clean. So hopefully when we do have the house on the market, because people do like to open
Do they?
fridges, they do. I was reading up about it the other day.
I think they're cheeky.
They like to open fridges and freezers. So I've made sure, so I've given it all a good clean, and when we do come to put the house on the market, we'll just have to give everything a wipe again, you know, because it can get dirty quite quickly, particularly because we have some milk from the milkman, you know, and
particularly because you don't keep on top of it, Paul.
I don't. No, I mean, it's not filthy at all.
Cleavers are called stick Mickeys.
Oh yeah, I've heard about
how
that.
lovely.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, a couple more comments. Let's see. Oh, Dorothy, yes. A raincoat that doesn't work. It's not fun.
There's somebody at our allotment that she's got a really, really good coat. Really good coat. And I need to find out. I want to find out. I don't need to. I want to find out what make it is. Rick and Martin in sunny Torbay. Is it sunny? Really? Wow.
Hello, Rich and Martin.
Good morning, Beverly. 6:18 a.m.
Well, I've never been called a fashion icon before, but I do appreciate the sentiment. Thank you. It is a particularly lovely scarf. It's sort of a rainbow scarf, or pashmina, as I like to call it. It was given to me by my friend, Mireille, my French friend, who's given me a lot of scarves over the years. I've got about 40. I do like a scarf, even in the summer. I like a scarf.
Sticky Willy.
What?
Absolutely. They're also called that, Jane.
Are
Cleavers.
they disgusting,
They are.
Jane?
They are.
Honestly, trust Jane to take us into the gutter. Honestly.
Well, Jane is taking us into the gutter because I think she's going to be putting gutters on the greenhouse that she's building.
Oh,
and
the
shed.
greenhouse.
So,
We've
you
been
know,
watching
maybe
the
there's going to be
progress.
some more gutter chat.
I mean, that's amazing. That. What did you say?
There may be more gutter chat.
Anyway, yeah.
Jay.
So,
yeah.
okay. So, yeah, just to round off the weather.
Yeah, so where are we? We're going to be colder in our area over the coming days. I mean, it really did get quite bitter. Was it Thursday evening?
Awful.
Thursday evening, it got down to about 3 degrees. But because we'd had some warmer weather, it felt really, really cold.
Oh, it was really cold. And we were playing our Scrabble draped in blankets.
We were.
I know.
And then I think from next Wednesday, the temperature does actually start rising.
Better do. I saw 17 forecast at the end of this week.
Yeah.
Which would be nice.
Yeah, it would be. It would be.
Honestly.
I mean, I have been at the plot several times where it's just been gloriously warm because the sun has been out. But I think it was maybe Thursday I was there. I got down there, the sun was out and it was rather lovely and I was sort of had to take layers off. But by the end of it, the clouds had come in, it was about to rain and of course all the layers had come back on. So, yeah.
So there we are.
Sticky Willies are long ice buns.
What?
Iced buns. There we are. Haven't had an iced bun for a long time.
No, and you're not going to either on your
No.
diet, although we did treat ourselves to a croissant this morning, as I've just said.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. May is only round the corner. Well, yeah, but let's hope it's a decent May.
Yeah.
I mean, last May, wasn't it last year that we had that drought?
Yeah.
Was it last year?
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
hot from May onwards.
Yeah.
I don't really want it to be hot from May onwards, but a pleasant temperature of around 24. That suits me.
Yeah.
Anything more than that, I just don't function.
Sorry, what were you saying?
What?
I went off on a thing then. I started sort of drifting away.
Did you?
What were you saying about not functioning?
In hot weather.
In hot weather, you don't function, yeah. But I said last night, I am not going to complain. Actually, I don't usually complain about the heat. I love the heat, but you complain about the heat.
I don't like.
No.
I mean, we don't live in a hot country. I don't want hot weather. Thank you. I want nice weather, pleasant weather that you can function in and do normal things, you know, without melting.
Yeah.
So, yes, Miles, we were going to bring up Barry Humphries. Yeah, very sad, but you know, he was old, he died.
Yeah.
But he leaves a huge legacy of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is readily available to watch. I mean, we grew up with Dame Edna on the telly. And what's his name? Les Patterson. Sir Les Patterson. So, yeah, it's part of our culture, isn't it, really? You know, it was so big in the UK. Yeah.
I met him very briefly at something or other.
Did you?
I think he was with Kathy Lett, who's Australian as well, isn't she?
That's right.
So yeah, that was many years ago.
Okay, let's move on. Move on.
Many
Keep the kettle boiling. Honestly, Paul, going on about nothing all the time, wasting time. So, it's time to talk about what's been going on in the Heis this week.
And outside.
And let's introduce a new segment. What's gone wrong this week and what's broken in the house? So I came down on Friday morning to make tea. And what I sometimes do, if there's a little bit of tea left in the teapot from the day before, from the night before, I tend to pour it into the cups and microwave it, and we have it mixed with the new batch. So it's nice and strong, plenty of lovely steeped caffeine.
Hot tea.
So I put it into the microwave, turned the microwave on, and it started making a sound like the gates of hell had opened, perhaps a portal to another universe had occurred, like a Stargate in the microwave. And I thought better turn it off, because that doesn't sound very healthy. And I shouted up to Paul, the microwave's making a strange sound, and it's not heating the tea up. So I turned it off at the plug. Best to do that, because, you know, microwaves that break down, don't risk it.
No.
Because they'll cook you from the inside out. So my grandmother used to say.
Well, that's why that mesh is on the front of most microwaves, isn't it? Because it actually bounces the microwaves back.
That's right. Yeah. So the microwave broke. Yeah, great.
And because of the energy bills, we've been using the microwave every single day, several times a day. So we'll heat it up at lunchtime. We'll heat our soup up at lunchtime. In the evening, I'll heat up rice that I'll have already cooked in the Instant Pot. We'll have something taken out of the freezer and we'll heat that up. So most of our sort of, magpie. Hello, Mr. Magpie.
It's the size of a cat.
It is a big magpie. They are big. I mean, corvids are big, or can be very big. So we've been doing so much of our sort of main meal eating from things that have been heated up in the microwave.
Yeah.
And cooked in the Instant Pot generally to save money again.
You're right. God.
And you said, oh, well, there's too many, there's too much choice, you know, can't. And I said, well, we have to get one.
Yeah.
Because
we've got to replace it. We use it a lot.
And
the thing is, the microwave that we had was a multi-combi microwave. So an ordinary oven as well, and a grill. So you can do conventional cooking in it. And because it's smaller than the oven, it's using less energy.
Yeah.
And of course, the combi cooking as well. Paul, you're putting me off.
No, carry on talking.
The combi cooking means you don't have to just reheat. You can combine microwave cooking and grilling. So you can microwave cook something and then finish off to crisp it off, you know? So we've been really adventurous with it. So we do need it. So yeah, we had to get a new microwave.
Yeah.
Great. Paul, what are you doing?
It's not bringing up the
You're
live
ruining
chat.
everything now. You've
Now I've
hidden the
hidden
chat.
it. Right.
Honestly.
Flying potato alert.
Well, it was bigger than a potato. So yeah, microwave, gone.
Mm.
Now replaced with a new Samsung smart oven. I don't know why they call it that.
Well, because you can connect your mobile phone to it, apparently, I found out.
What?
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, ours was very clean, Karen. So, you know, you could tell because the whole thing was vibrating as well, which it doesn't normally do. So, and it certainly wasn't heating anything up. So, yeah, I'm not going to risk it with a microwave. And it was quite old.
It was, yeah. Well,
yeah, we bought it when we had the kitchen done. Because the old one broke.
14 years or something.
Yeah, exactly.
12 years, 14 years.
So we bought a Samsung. Yes, we bought a Samsung smart oven. It was around 169, was it?
169 reduced from 230 or something.
Yeah, so it's a 28 litre, which is not too big, but big enough. So yeah, it cooks conventionally and it uses those wire stands that are compatible with microwave cooking. So you can actually cook 2 dishes at the same time, which is really handy. So you could do your sauce and your rice at the same time, Paul. But the rice takes quicker, doesn't it?
Well, no,
because
you can't microwave.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. It says do not use the things solely with the microwave. You can use it with the microwave and combi oven, but not solely with the microwave.
Plastic container would melt.
Yeah, possibly.
Well, you could just transfer it to a glass container.
Anyway, I know what I'm doing when I'm heating things up, Richard. Thank you very much.
Good.
Yeah, I think air fryers are good. But the thing is, most of our food is most of the food that we're eating. Well, we don't eat very much. We don't eat very many potatoes.
No.
Really don't. I think we're going to have some mash maybe this evening.
Ooh.
But we don't have many potatoes, and we're having a lot of sort of bologneses and chilies and
stovetop
curries.
meals.
Yes.
You could just say stovetop meals, Paul. That would encompass the whole thing in one go instead of saying 20 billion words instead of 2. Paul. That's a look of love.
Which I cook in the Instant Pot, and then they get portioned out and then they go into the freezer. So yeah, it's I don't know. I think, would we ever get an air fryer? Possibly.
If we had a bigger kitchen.
Possibly. Would we get one at the moment? No, we wouldn't. You know, I would rather have my Instant Pot, which Courtney and Dave got us, and the microwave than an air fryer. Yeah. And I think they also, don't you need to, on many of them aren't actually, you can't put them in the dishwasher. They're non-stick, and I was looking at liners. Someone said that they get liners to put in because they can put those into the dishwasher. Yeah. Lovely. A crock pot. Yeah. I mean, well, we've got various casseroles, but we don't use our large oven. I mean, it would be interesting to know. We've also got a slow cooker, but the Instant Pot is also a slow cooker. So, you know, we don't need that. But yeah, crock pot. Yeah. So what is a crock pot? Is that just, do you put that in the oven, or is that electric? What is your understanding of crock pot? Because mine used to be a big ceramic one that goes in the oven. Yeah, interesting. You can dishwasher air
Tango
fryer.
can
There we are.
dishwasher
Yeah.
air fryer.
I know quite a few can't. Our friend who's got one, she can't put hers in the in them. I think maybe the cheaper ones, the what do you call it, non-stick, doesn't do that.
Doesn't my mug look lovely in this light? Look at that, isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah, it does get me overexcited actually. I would quite like to do a loaf, maybe a soda bread in the in the convention oven of the microwave. Might give that a go one day. Yeah, but we usually get the bread. We get sort of one free bread a week, a month from Lidl, and that goes into the freezer.
I don't see it.
No, it's one a month we get, because you get above a certain spend and it gives you a free bakery item. And most people go with a treat like a donut or something like that, which costs, I don't know, 40p. But I go for the sourdough boule, which is £1.99.
Have you finished?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Really?
I'll shut up now.
So that was the first thing that broke. The microwave, or the microwave.
Or if you're Welsh,
Popty ping.
Popty ping.
That's not true though.
Isn't it?
No, I
Alexa,
think that's
Alexa, what is Welsh for microwave?
See?
Microdon.
Microdon.
Oh, it's
Microdon.
not Popty ping.
It's not Popty ping.
Oh.
Paul, honestly. Just alienated the whole of Wales.
That's sad, and we're hoping to move there as well.
Yeah.
I thought I knew one Welsh word, and I don't.
No, you don't, Paul.
Mm.
So, the other thing that happened yesterday morning, when the weather was dry, I looked out of the bathroom window and saw that the flat roof was covered in water, which can mean only one thing. That the outlet pipe for the bath and the sink has just been repaired and the tap has been replaced. Something's happened to it. So that was another thing that had to be repaired yesterday. So I spent about 4 trips on the roof trying to work out how I needed to repair this pipe.
In and out of our bathroom window.
Yes, in and out of the bathroom window, which is quite difficult, and then I'm on a flat roof. Yeah, so that was fun, but it is now repaired.
Yeah, which is
Thank
good.
goodness.
Yeah.
So, but we are sort of getting to the stage where it really feels like we do one repair and another thing breaks. And I kind of did have, in all seriousness, I did have a moment where I honestly just thought, I can't deal with this.
I've got to that stage.
You were out down at the plot.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just sort of, I know it does, Robin, I know, but we've been quite blessed because not many things have really gone wrong with this house. Yeah, touch wood. So yeah, you know, it just seems to be now when we're sort of getting ready to put it on the market, that these things keep happening. But hopefully, yeah, touch wood, that's the end of the breakages for the moment.
But it's not even that, isn't it? It's you go to do something and something happens that stops you. So this week I was painting window frames. I painted some window frames, haven't I? And I've been at my desk working in the morning, and it's been sort of, you know, decent weather and a light breeze. And then we have lunch, you go back to work. I get everything ready. I go outside, start painting, and then suddenly a gale starts blowing and petals start falling off trees and leaves and dust, and you're painting and then things are falling on the paint, and you go, this is ridiculous. You know, this morning there was a light breeze, and now I come to do the job that I need to do, and there's bits falling on the paintwork. So I had to stop twice this week. And
then temperature as well, because, you know, applying paint in cold temperatures, is not really advisable because the paint just doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
And it can get quite gloopy, can't it?
Well, it doesn't adhere properly. No matter how you prepared the surface, it doesn't adhere properly because it's not drying at the rate that it should dry at. So its own weight causes it to drip, which is something, to be honest, I've never experienced before because whenever I've decorated in the past, we've had the heating on.
Well, whenever we've decorated in the past, it's usually been in the summer months as well.
It's been summer, or if it has been a job in the winter, we put the heating on to help dry the paint, So it's just, yeah. That's the washing machine. That's another job to do, to put the washing out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been frustrating this week. I did, however, successfully mend one of the drain pipes, one of the rainwater drain pipes, whilst I was out on the flat roof, which was good.
Yeah.
I was pleased with that. It had come loose and I refitted it, which was good. So there was another reason why I needed to be on the flat roof, which was a positive thing. So, but I'll have a go at these things, but when I can't come up with a solution, it really frustrates me and
it makes you want to stop.
It's also, I think you get to a stage in your life where there aren't that many people to ask. Like in the past, I might have, phoned my dad and said, Dad, what would you do with this? We do have a neighbour next door who's quite proficient at certain things, and I sort of had a chat with him whilst I was on the roof because he was on his roof doing much bigger job of sorting out his soil pipe, which I don't envy him at all. So he sort of said, oh yeah, I do that as well. And it was like, oh, yeah, I'm along the right lines with this. So, I'm quite a logical person and I'm quite good at problem solving when it's within my sphere of knowledge, but I also freak out quite easily. And I did have a moment where I sat down with my head in my hands.
Oh, I've done that.
And had to sort of do a little bit of self-comforting rocking, basically, which does work. It calms you down a little bit. But yeah, it's sometimes in the past few weeks, it's been a bit too much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because we've been doing a lot, trying to keep up with these repairs and making the place look, clean and tidy. We're almost there. There are a few more jobs to do. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think when you've got people around you that do certain things, it's really good. And we were very fortunate this week because one of the plot holders who does an awful lot at the site, he came over and on Friday morning finished off our
bathroom sink
and tap. Yeah. So, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, that was really good because it involved adding a piece of pipe, a piece of copper pipe, and that is beyond my capabilities. I can do plastic piping and I can use the olives and the pipe inserts. I've learned how to do that. Well, you're very lucky, Robin, because we don't really have, but I guess after 20 years in this community, it's strange because we're starting to discover people who can do things.
Well, I think the thing is, we were saying this the other day, we have rarely asked for help. That's the other thing, because there are some people, I find that we're always helping other people. I mean, particularly me, particularly me. You help people at work, so you do all that helping at work. I do it sort of, outside of my work with the allotment and locally and things like that. And I don't think we're very good at asking for help. No. And when we were having a sort of mental block with what to do with the sink, what needed to be done, it just felt a bit overwhelming. And I just asked the plot holder down, could you come and give us some advice? And he's ended up, after you gave everything a really good clean and scraped off, what's that called?
Line scale.
Scale. He came and fixed it in 3 hours, less than 3 hours.
Yeah.
So that was great. That was great. We do have a few other things that we need doing, so maybe we'll just ask a few other people. Yeah.
Really? Like what?
The cooker hood.
Well, the cooker hood needs replacing.
Yeah, I know. Are you going to replace it? No, you're not. It needs to be done by a professional.
Well, there's that electrician.
Yeah, I know, but maybe there's somebody that's very local that can do it. Anyway, let's not get into that.
Okay,
Have an
Paul.
argument on screen.
God, honestly.
We don't have very many now, though.
No,
really,
we don't
do
argue. We're not arguing people. I'm a bit shouty.
A bit? You're completely shouty.
I'm a bit fiery.
I'm a bit...
You're a bit what?
I'll say something and then you'll say something else and then I'll just shut up.
Yeah,
And I'll go down the plot.
You are a typical third child who had to fight to get the attention. Oh, yeah.
Well, I didn't. Yeah. I didn't really, because I was so far behind my two brothers. There's 6 years, 10 days between us.
Paul, do you keep trying to tell yourself that? I know what I mean. Yeah, I am Jennifer. I'm a little bit shouty and I do raise my voice. And I do occasionally freak out. But you know what? I think it's quite healthy to freak out occasionally because it kind of lets it all out. And I'm prone, when I'm trying to sort out a problem, I'm prone to doing quite a bit of pacing as well. So I will pace around and I will then sit down and I'll Google and then I'll do a bit more pacing and then I'll do a bit more Googling. And I find what happens is a plan starts to come together. So I'm putting all these pieces together and sort of working out the best way to do something that's in line with maybe what other people would do. But sometimes the problems are unique. You've got a unique situation that you've never encountered before. So yeah, it's, yeah.
And sometimes that process for you can take 6 months, can't it?
No, Paul, don't be ridiculous. There's plenty of things that I've had to deal with recently that have involved an afternoon's thinking to try and come up with, the best thing to do. If it's not an emergency, obviously emergencies need to be dealt with straight away, like leaks and things like that.
Yeah.
But if it's not an emergency, like we've got a room with a patch that isn't damp at all, but the paint keeps bubbling. And I have encountered that before. And I've tried to do what I've done before and it's just not working. So I can't work out why that's happening. So I've put together a few things, a few reasons why it might be happening. It's probably to do with the plaster itself. But it's not even crumbling, the plaster, it's solid. If it was crumbling, I think this is damp, there's a leak somewhere.
I think sometimes there's just no reason.
Yeah, so sometimes things happen and it's random. You gather your information and, try and sort it out best you can and hope that it works. And if it doesn't, you have to come up with another solution. So, but it's frustrating at the moment because we're kind of time bound. We have to get the house on the market in the next couple of weeks and we have to get moving forwards with finding another home. So, which is going well. I've got a good list of properties now that are all still on the market in the area we want to be, North Wales. So we will be planning a trip quite soon to do that.
Once the house is on the market.
Once the house is on the market. So yeah, it's moving forward slowly but surely, frustratingly, but
yeah,
it's happening. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, Stevie, that you've got a cold. Hope you feel okay. Nice.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jane. Just
Yeah,
I think the thing is, though, one can go through life putting quite a lot of plants and other things in front of things, but at some point you need to deal with what's behind the plant and what's behind the other pots. Yeah.
I think, you know, I think we've been quite good at avoiding certain things.
You've
Um,
caught up, Beverly, if you're there. Yeah.
okay.
Oh, eggshell paint and it won't let you paint over it.
No, unfortunately, it's not that.
Could it be something like that? A different. Oh no, because you've painted that several times, haven't you?
I've painted it a couple of times, and there's actually nothing. I managed to scrape off the paint. Um, it's
Anyway,
weird.
it is
It's
what it
really
is.
weird, and
Yeah.
it's you know, you can't explain it. It's yeah.
I have to say I'm using that phrase, it is what it is, quite a lot at the moment. I really am. But there we are. There we are. We're getting there.
Yeah, we are
Getting there,
getting
bit by
there.
bit, bit by bit. So, what else are we talking about today? What was that?
So blah 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 blah.
Oh, I haven't heard from Saga. You know, I applied for that job about 4 weeks ago. Haven't heard from Saga. I heard from them when I applied, you know, just saying thanks for your application, but I haven't heard anything since.
But surely it should have said in that, if you don't hear anything by blah blah blah, you haven't got the job.
No, I
Well, it
don't
should
think it
do.
did.
I think
don't
it's
think it
terribly
did.
rude.
Well, maybe they're still choosing. You know, who knows?
Maybe they were overwhelmed
Maybe they were.
with applicants.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I never expected to get it, but I thought it would be an interesting process to do. It's the first job I've applied for with a CV.
Well, if you never expected to
Since
get
I
it,
was
you
about
won't get
19.
it.
No, it wasn't.
God.
I mean, I can do quite a bit of it, but I can't do all of it, and I've never actually been a channel editor.
So
yeah,
I think it was Jennifer that just said you're an avoider.
oh, I'm an avoider.
Yeah, you're an avoider, Jennifer. We totally understand. And what I tend to do is I end up doing things that are well within my capabilities. So that then eats the time, and then you end up not doing the job actually that you really need to tackle. So I try now to challenge myself and say, just go out there now and deal with it.
Like you did with the garden.
Like I did this morning with the garden. I thought, okay, it's raining, but you know what? I need to do some weeding before the weeds get out of control, because they're all going crazy at the moment. They're loving this time of year with the rain and the bits of sun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did, I think, about an hour. And I was really pleased that I had, and I can continue later when the rain moves on. But yeah, just seize the moment if you can. And even if it's only to do a certain amount of time. So, you know, time yourself, give yourself an hour or half an hour and do it in smaller chunks. Sometimes that feels more achievable. And yeah, just get up and do it. So, I have to coach myself into starting a project sometimes. I have to do a bit of self-parenting. So that will take the form of, come on, Richard, you can do it. Get up, get changed, put your shoes on, put your coat on, just do, come on, that's it, you can, that's it, go for it. That kind of self-talk is needed, because, you know, I can take it from myself. If Paul tells me to do something, I feel slightly resentful that somebody else is telling me to do something. I don't like that. So I like to do it for myself. That's more effective. And sometimes it doesn't always work. Sometimes I think, no, I'll just have 5 more minutes.
It's a bit like going to bed when I say to Richard, right, it's time for bed, because he's been sleeping in the chair for an hour and a half, and it's like 10 o'clock, 10:15, and I go, right, I'm going to bed. Yeah, I'll be up in a minute. And an hour later, I'm still reading my book and he's not there. So, yeah.
I hate being told what to do.
He does. Procrastination, yeah, it's something, Rebecca,
Yeah.
that I do. Many people do. Joe, Bridget are saying that it's something that they do, and I think it's something that we all do, and we can learn to take measures to reduce that procrastination. But I think sometimes we just do, and I know I do. I'm a great procrastinator.
That's that speech impediment again.
It is. Yeah, there we are. Thanks for raising that, Richard, and pointing out to 137 people. Yeah, yeah, there we are.
I will try, Beverly. I'll try to do a post or a little video at some point. Again, what happens is, if I think, oh, I'm going to do a video, what's on my mind is making the video and not getting the job done. So that can sometimes be a barrier to just getting out and doing it because you're thinking about the video. So yeah, and then you're thinking about, oh, I've got to edit that now, and I've got to turn the computer on, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. So those things can get in the way of actually getting the job done. Naturally, the most important thing is just to get the job done, because that's our priority at the moment. You know, unfortunately, social media isn't my priority at the moment. You know, that's why I'm fairly quiet, and I do apologise if you're a member of Planet Vegetaria. That's a Facebook group by Richard and Paul. Richard and Paul since 2017. That's contractual. I do apologise if you're a member of Planet Vegetaria because I haven't posted on there for a long time. And I also have been rather neglectful of doing the welcome posts to new members because...
time and tide, wait for no man.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's just the way it goes at the moment. But yes, Sunday Chat is a priority for us because we enjoy doing it, and it's lovely to spend some time with you guys.
And Robin, yeah, quite a lot of people are doing 8-minute videos at the moment, and maybe we should start doing 8-minute Sunday Chat. Just
Really,
8 minutes.
Paul? Really?
Yeah. Well, it's a suggestion.
That's just not going to work.
Well, maybe people will like it.
But the thing is, Robin, I think you'll find that, you know, a lot of YouTubers are doing what they think they should be doing because they've seen other people doing it that have got loads of views. You know, I used to do reels very regularly on Instagram. And I used to really enjoy doing those. And those are just like, 30 seconds or a minute. I really enjoy putting those together, but it actually takes quite a bit of time to do it, you know? So it's just, at the moment, I'm also trying to look after my mental health as
both
well.
Of us.
And that involves not spending too much time doing videos and posting on social media, sort of stepping back and just focusing on what is important in our lives at the moment, because this is it's kind of like make or break. We have to sell this house, you know, it's extremely important.
We need to for various reasons, but for me it's particularly, I have felt that I need something, a change. And I think changes very rarely come without you making some move towards the change actually occurring. You know, one can get stuck in the rut, if you see what I mean. And we've been here 20 years. You know, we've been together 30 years, and it's time for us to find another challenge, more challenges, something sort of different. You know, I think we could quite happily sort of stay here and just do the same thing, you know, day out, day in, day out.
Exactly.
And that isn't actually where I think our lives need to go at the moment.
Morning, Jim. Thanks for joining
Jim.
us. That's Jim, the Lake Effect gardener. So I think it's important, especially at our age, to challenge yourself if you're able to. Otherwise, like Paul said, you just continue to do what you do. Whether you actually are questioning whether you enjoy it or not is another matter, but life just goes on. And I have said on a number of occasions, God, it feels like Groundhog Day. Same thing every day, the same walk to work, the same work, the same house stuff, the same routine of cleaning the house, doing the chores, blah, blah, blah. You know, what's the definition of madness? Doing the same thing day in, day out and expecting a different result.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it's good to change things up and break the routine and change the location. You know, somebody once said to me, you become a different person in a different location.
I think that's very true.
And I think it is true. I think you feel different when you're in different places. You've always said, you know, you've said recently that you feel extremely relaxed when you're in Wales, you know?
I mean, I literally feel when we get to a certain point where we start seeing the Welsh mountains on the visit to Wales that we have been doing over the past few years, I literally feel my heart open up. And it just fills me with so much sort of space and joy. And even though
with space,
yes, space to do things, to create things, to make those changes, because I feel restricted where we are, you know. And don't get me wrong, you know, we're incredibly fortunate and privileged to be in this house, to be in the position that we are, to be earning enough money to pay bills. You know, we are in a really decent position. So many other people in far worse positions than we are, particularly at the moment with the cost of living crisis that is hitting so many millions of people. But it is that time to find that space, to find those challenges, to make a difference to our lives. You know, because I think very often if you make a difference to your life, other people, they feed into that difference and they benefit too. You know, and certainly that's what I found with my reconnection with growing over the last 9 years almost now. Really found that.
Well, thank you for that. That nugget of wisdom, Paul.
Oh dear. There we are. Yeah.
Yeah. Or not. Could be the biggest mistake of our lives. We don't know until we try.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
And that's the nature of risk as well. You know, I think we've both been guilty of not taking enough risks in life, you know?
Well, I know you keep on saying that. I have run my own business for 23 years, you know, and
yeah, look at that. Look where that's got.
Well,
yeah.
It may not have made us millionaires, but you know, running your own business is all the things you have to deal with. It is a nightmare doing it. I mean, it really is. You know, I received a tax form that I need to fill in for the United States because I once owned some shares in a small company in the United States, and I still need to fill in a tax form now for the US saying that I haven't held these shares for 10 years and I haven't had any income. Insane. Absolutely insane. But it needs to be done, you know.
You're right.
Oh, but it is. It's, you know, people, there was somebody on Question Time, we were watching Question Time, and she has got a, where they were, I think it was Hull maybe, she's got a coffee shop in Hull and she employs 7 or 9 people, something like that. She hasn't paid herself in 3 years, she was saying, you know, but she's paying her other 7 or 9 people that work for her. You know, it's running a business is challenging. However, people say, oh, you know, create your own business. It's like when I chat to Vivi, you know, Vivi's running 4 or 5 businesses from her home, you know, and we run maybe, 3 or 4 businesses from home, and then I help other people run other businesses, as part of my business. And I see the challenges. I mean, I've had a text from Vanessa this morning to say that suddenly, because the the help has been withdrawn this month from um, businesses in terms of the energy cap, the energy at the shop has risen by over 200%. And that's 200% more that she needs to find each month. So yeah, challenges everywhere when you're a challenges everywhere when we're human beings or animals or anything, but business challenges are always there if you're running your own business.
I
Right.
can't go on. I can't go on.
And actually, sometimes you need to say to a client, I'm not saying this about Vanessa, but I have said to clients in the past, do you think it's time to not run your own business? Because actually the time does come where it's best to move on.
And do
it
what?
really, well, work with other. I want to put two separate clients together. So instead of running 2 businesses as competitors, they ran one business as a collaborative measure, and they are both successful today. So yeah. Gosh, that went off at a tangent. Sorry about that. Yeah. What's on the list, Richard?
Dread to think. So, work. Update on my work. So I've spent last week training a new receptionist.
Oh yes, yeah.
This is the person that will be doing Wednesday afternoon, Thursday and Fridays, and I will be able to revert back to my role, which is Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday morning, part-time. So I've got another day and a half, no, two more half days of training her. And then I'm releasing her to cope on her own. And I'll be back to part-time. So that's really good news. It's been quite challenging doing the training.
Yeah.
It's been quite challenging doing the training because I've had to do my work as well as do the training for her as well. So that's been, it's been challenging because I've had to bring work home. I had to do a couple of hours in the evening.
A couple of times this week.
To deal with all the emails that I'd received whilst I was doing the training of the new staff. It's been a busy week at work. Exhausting, actually. So, and then, of course, we get to the weekend and it's more work to do in the house. God, I'll be pleased when this is all finished. I really will.
And we're both looking forward to a break at some point as well.
God, yes. Well, the break will come when we've moved into the new property.
No, I mean have a few days off, or even
we're going to take a trip to
out.
Guernsey at some point.
Yeah.
We were going to do a trip out in the car this morning, but
it hasn't happened.
We knew it was going to rain, so it was pointless. And the car's going in for her MOT tomorrow morning, and full service. So that's booked in. Paul will be dropping her off.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's another thing. I did the tax is all that's going to be taken by direct debit. It renews in May, and then I did a search for insurance. Same insurance as last year. It's gone up from about £275 to £458 as the minimum, and that's using, I think, Money Supermarket or something. I mean, really, I'm going to have to look into it more, but yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, at our age, we've had no accidents, nothing's gone wrong.
No.
We should be not paying that much.
I know.
Really?
I know.
Really?
I'm glad to hear that that it was well worth it, Izzy. Drop us an email and let us know where you are now, because I'd be quite interested to know where you are. So yeah.
So Mum is okay. She had a good birthday.
Yeah, Mum had a really a nice birthday. There was a big cake for her, and she had a favourite meal. And
Yeah.
yeah, she said that she wasn't looking forward to it when I spoke to her on Wednesday, but she said that she'd really enjoyed the day so far and was sure that she would continue enjoying it. She got our card and it had a really lovely verse. I got that at our local post office, and it was really nice to go in there and buy a card and chat to people and get the card that I knew Mum would love. So she had a really good day, and my brother and his wife visited as well, and they took Mum flowers. The Black Magic chocolates that we bought for Mum arrived a day late, but she was very pleased to receive those. Black Magic are Mum's favourite chocolates. And I spoke to her again yesterday, and we were on the phone for about 40 minutes. So it was a really good long chat with Mum yesterday.
Yeah, she's good. She's doing well.
And she'd had her hair done, which was super. She loves having her hair done every sort of like 3 months. So yeah.
Yeah, we've Dean. We've thought about that. So if you've seen Dean's comment, we've got the testing this afternoon at 3:00.
After 3:00.
It's at 3:00, isn't it?
I think it's in the half hour after 3:00. I don't think it will necessarily at 3:00 everyone's phone will go off. That's what they have said.
It's being broadcast from the phone masts.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It says it's 3:00.
Okay.
That's what I read.
Okay.
Anyway, that's happening today. I'm going to leave mine on. I want to hear it. I want to know what it sounds like.
Yeah. But if you have a quiet phone, if you have a phone, if you're in any sort of suffering from domestic abuse or something, and you have a secret phone, do make sure you switch the phone off completely, because if the phone is on in the UK and this goes off, it will beep. So if you do have a secret phone,
I think it's going to do more than beep.
No, it will, but do make sure. I mean, the important thing, Richard, is if you are suffering domestic abuse and you have a secret phone, make sure it is off from like 2:30 till 4:00. Just because if you're in that situation, you don't want the person who's abusing you finding out you have a secret phone. So make sure you switch it off. Well, it's important. It really is important.
I know it's important, Paul. God. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? In the news this week, we've covered all of those things. Lovely. This is the moment where we invite you to ask a question, la question. If you want to. We're an hour and 8 into the show. We're not going to be here much longer. We've got 140 people watching at the moment. Oh, I've just noticed you can see the back of my head in the...
Yeah, you can.
In the lamp.
No, Tony, they don't have lemon creams anymore in Black Magic. I know, it's a shame. Yeah, I used to love the lemon cream.
I don't remember lemon cream. What's the longest you've gone without sleep?
Not particularly long.
Well, it would have been pulling an all-nighter in my party days. So I guess, I don't know, 24 hours, I don't know. Russell Brand, I don't really have any thoughts on Russell Brand particularly. I think he can be quite a good speaker. I think he's intelligent, but I don't really follow him, so I think he's okay.
But I think it's like, it's like everyone. You can really like 95% of what somebody does, and maybe they'll say something one time and it's not quite what you want to hear. Yeah.
How many beans make 5?
How many beans make 5?
I don't know. No idea.
Are we talking about cat beans?
What?
You know, their little paws.
Toe beans?
Toe beans, yeah.
Well, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't really know. Favourite music and artists? Too many things to think of, Dean. Obviously, you all know I love artists like Kate Bush, Annie Lennox, but I don't listen to them very often. In fact, I don't listen to music very often. I find it a little bit distracting sometimes. I only listen when I've got time to listen. Hi, Grace. There was another question. What do we think of Picard? We'll come to that later, David.
I do listen to music at my desk sometimes. When I'm writing copy or something like that, or an article, then I don't. But I like to have Radio 4 or music in the background, and I'll just put on. I'll ask for a sort of like Tina Turner mix, and it'll be on Amazon, and it will give me, you know, that genre, if you like. So it will give me other artists that are in the genre of Tina Turner, and you can just sort of click like. That's all I do.
Instant Pot we love. We would
Oh,
recommend it very
absolutely.
much. They're brilliant machines. Excellent.
The Instant Pot, I would almost say, if not, I would say, is the best thing that we have ever bought, even though we didn't buy it. Yeah.
Passing of Barry Humphries. Well, it's sad, but you know he was getting on, so this is what happens. ABBA we love. We saw ABBA Voyage.
Led Zeppelin. I don't know Led
No,
Zeppelin.
I
I
wouldn't.
mean, I know. I don't. if you played a Led Zeppelin song, I'm not sure I'd know it.
No, I've got no idea about Led Zeppelin at all.
Hi, Geraldine.
80s synth music, yes. Love 80s synth music.
Kizzy on YouTube. No, I don't remember that.
Kizzy.
Can't remember that.
What did we use for? I think I used Ancestry.
Wasn't it? Something
Yeah.
like that. I think there was another. Do we eat tuna salad?
No,
Tango,
we don't eat
no,
tuna.
we don't have tuna now. I stopped buying it at some point last year. We don't have fish fingers either. So really, apart from I think the occasional fish and chips, we've stopped eating fish. So yeah. Do you like Car Boot Sales?
Oh, the Didakoi. Yes, I remember that series. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yes.
Car Boot Sales?
No, never been to a car boot sale.
I've been to a couple, but no, not really.
Can't be bothered getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get a space. Okay. Oh yeah, Stairway to Heaven. Yeah, that's probably the only one that I know.
Yeah, I do know that.
We don't really have that many photos from the past.
I mean, Richard has posted some photos on Coffee. So for those on Coffee, there are photos of when we a few photos of when we got together. We're not particularly photos of people, if you see what I mean. My mum's got lots of photos. My brother, has got photos and things, but we don't have. There's one photo I think of us on shelves around the house, isn't there? That's it.
Yeah, it's an interesting subject. I was going through photographs from the past because we have quite a lot. I've got a couple of bags full of photos. But actually I found the whole experience overwhelming, to be honest. So I had to stop. And I find if I dip my toe into the past for too long, I end up feeling really shit, to be honest. So I try as much as I can to be in the here and now, because I find that much healthier. It's a healthy way to be. I try not to worry too much about the future, and I try not to reflect too much on the past, because I find it just emotionally overwhelming or too frightening to think about the future. So I try to keep my feet firmly planted now. It can work both ways, because when you start to plan stuff, it can freak you out because certain things need planning. and certain things need reflections on what's going to happen in the future. Um, so, you know, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and just go for it. But in everyday life, I try to just be present now because
Um,
that's all we've got.
yeah. Joe, you asked what's the best item you've discovered whilst decluttering. There are a few bears that we found. And some of my early writing when I was a sort of young, you know, like, well, I wasn't even a teenager actually. But one of the just talking about what you were saying about not going back into old things. One thing that I did find was a notebook that my mum had written when my brother, my older brother, died, um, and it it went over a number of weeks, and I didn't know what this notebook was, and I opened it up, and it was I started reading it and I thought, oh my God, I don't even know how I ended up with this notebook. And it's something that I started reading and I had to put away. And I thought, I will read this later once we've moved. I sort of couldn't allow myself to go into that um, emotive time of analysing and reading what mum was going through as a mother on losing her elder son, and my dad as well. And that I suppose is quite a precious thing. um, so that was interesting to find that, and I've packed it. It's already packed, and I'll have a read of it at another time. So
I think
yeah.
one of the most interesting things I found were my school reports from secondary school and a school report from primary school as well, which was really fun to read because, and I've said this before when I've been talking about um, when you're trying to find your authentic self, sometimes it can be good to reflect on who you were as a child and what you enjoyed as a child. And actually, it really reflects who I am now. One of the one of the sort of overriding comments was Richard excels at the things he likes and doesn't bother with the things that he doesn't like. And it's like, well, why would you? Why would you bother putting energy into the things you don't like to do?
Mm.
And I've always kind of thought that way. Whereas, of course, at school in the comprehensive system, you were expected to have what's called a comprehensive education. So you had to do maths, you had to do English, you had to do a science, and you had to do whatever else. So you couldn't just choose to do all the things that you were good at. And actually, it would have been better to have focused on all the things that you were actually good at. It's why I disagree so strongly with our current Prime Minister for trying to roll out this program, which will insist on everybody studying maths up until the age of 18.
Insane.
Even if you are, you know, even if you've got
Useless at maths.
dyscalculia, which I have, and you can't actually add up, you know. So it's really interesting. So that was my interesting thing. The other interesting thing I found was the letter that my mother wrote to me when I left home. And I was leaving home at a particularly bad time for our family. It was sort of a broken home. And she wrote me a letter, and yeah, shouldn't have read it because I knew the contents. So within minutes, I'm like, you know, crying. So those kind of things drag you back into the past and drag you back into times that you don't necessarily want to reflect on because you know those things, you lived those things. You don't need to remind yourself of shit times that you went through, you know, because they're part of you, they're part of what makes you who you are now.
Absolutely.
You know, so reflecting on those things isn't always a good thing to do for me. You know, yes, I mean, I'm not diagnosed as having dyscalculia, But I know that I've got it because it's kind of like when people describe um, reading when they've got dyslexia. It's kind of what happens to me when I try and add numbers together. I'm, believe it or not, with numbers themselves as entities that aren't connected to calculations, I'm really good with. Extension numbers, phone numbers, stuff like that at work, I'm really good at recognizing. I also recognize people from their car number plates. So nothing happens to the numbers when they're just a number, an identifying number. But when I try to add up, if I don't use the dots method, I just can't do it, and it slowly sort of disintegrates, and I have to backtrack.
Well, we're playing Scrabble, as many of you know, at the moment, and each night. And even with that, you're like,
I have to do
1, 2,
dots.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You do that with your fingers. You do the dot thing with your fingers, don't you?
Yeah, I do, because that helps me. I see that Robin shared something here with us.
Yeah, I mean, that's a terrible thing, Robin.
That sounds awful, Robin. I'm sorry about that. This is the thing, our lives are filled with events that, aren't always great. Some things are terrible. And I think unless we're going through therapy, where we're trying to compartmentalize what has happened to us, sometimes it can be quite damaging to dredge stuff up. Sometimes it can be cathartic. Sometimes it can be part of letting something go, but sometimes it can just be exhausting to think about those things. And sometimes it can leave you phased out and feeling disconnected to now. And certainly, I can only talk about it in terms of me, but certainly for me at the moment, it's not helpful. It's not helpful. I need to be
here and now,
grounded in the here and now. Please think pleasant thoughts for my 1997 Dyson. Moving tomorrow, and it's the only cleaner that hasn't broken this week. Oh, well, let's hope it all goes well for you. What do we think? Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because, therapy should be person-centered. But some therapists, depending on their how they learn therapy and the methods that they choose to use, some do believe in going back and looking at what happened. Sometimes those things come out naturally. Sometimes you make a connection with something that has happened to you now, and you make a connection and you realize this is because of this when I was a child. And sometimes that's really valuable because things can fall into place, especially at our age. I find that happens quite a bit to me. Things sort of fall into place, so
yeah,
I
Debbie,
think it can be useful.
Sometimes we don't do that because it might trigger other people. Debbie was asking about reading out the question because not everyone can see it. I mean, what we try and do, Debbie, is answer the question in what we're actually saying. So yeah. And what you were saying about going back and sort of something triggering something. An example is about 10 years ago, or maybe even a little bit more. For years, I had a fear, or when I woke up at night, of a man in the house, a man in the doorway of the bedroom. And it wasn't a sort of frozen fear I had, but it was sort of like, oh my God, is that, oh no, it's just the doorway. And I had this for forever. I thought I'd had it forever. And then I was talking to you and another friend of ours about, going back to when the night my brother sadly died in a car crash. what I suddenly remembered, I had this vision of a person standing in a doorway with a light behind, and that was my fear. A man standing in a doorway with a light behind, so just seeing the silhouette of the man. And as I was talking about this in a conversation we were having, it suddenly dawned on me that when I was told about my brother's death, my mum was sitting on the side of my bed and my dad was in the doorway and the hallway light was on. And it all came together, it all slotted together at that point, that my fear of an intruder and a man standing in the doorway with a light behind was actually an occurrence that had happened that particular evening. So it sort of locked in that visual with the trauma, if you like. And I lived with it for decades. And it was only in a sort of conversation we had that suddenly I realized what it was. And that's never happened to me since. I've never woken up with a fear of oh, is there someone in the doorway?
You had resolution.
I had resolution. Absolutely.
You had resolved that particular thing, and I think that happens as we get older. I think we go through resolution with certain things, and I think that's important. I don't always think it's necessary to delve right into your childhood to do that. It can naturally occur,
as it did for me.
Simply through self-awareness, and I think self-awareness is, again, it's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle that you put together over a lifetime, because you become aware of why you do something.
Yeah, totally.
Why you do something a certain way. I mean, I said to you the other day when we were doing something, you were doing some painting and I was trying to tell you how to do it because you kept coming to me and saying, I don't know how to do this. And I was getting really impatient. And as I was talking to you, I heard my dad's voice, how he used to talk to me and how he would get impatient with me when he was trying to teach me how to paint because it was his trade. And I heard virtually the same tone and the same voice coming out to you. I thought that is learned behavior.
Yeah.
That is something that you learned as a child. So, it's about recognizing that and then amending it accordingly. And also, if need be, apologizing for your actions.
Yeah.
I said sorry to Paul. I said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, sound so aggressive. But it just kind of came out, So it's recognizing that, and that's self-awareness. And also still questioning yourself, questioning why you do something a certain way. And actually, is that the best way to do that?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing.
Trauma, Farmer Jones, trauma is a really interesting area. And actually, the team I work for is rolling out a trauma-informed workshop that I'll be taking part in. That's all about how trauma informs who you are, and how you handle that, and also how you work with other people who've gone through trauma. Well, Jane, you never know, love. You never know.
It could be. It could be. I'm a great believer. I mean, if you've watched us,
A great believer in what?
I'm a great believer in parallel universes. So if you've watched us before, I think there are times where universes sort of clash and timelines clash. And I think that's where sort of ghosts sort of come from.
Oh, I don't know, Paul.
Well, no,
I'm
that's my
extremely
view.
skeptical.
Well, you can be skeptical, Richard, but I have my own views and my own mind, and that is what I believe.
No, I'm very skeptical. I think that the power lies within our minds.
Yeah.
I think, and you know, funnily enough, actually, I took a delivery at work the other day for psychiatry, our psychiatric department, and it was an order of books. And there were a number of books by Oliver Sacks, who is a renowned psychologist, I think. And I said, oh, Oliver Sacks. I said, oh, you know, there's that one, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. And the next book I took out of the box was that book. And this is all to do with hallucinations and things that can happen to the brain through injury that can cause extreme hallucinations, you know. And this guy, basically, every time he saw his wife, he saw a hat. So do not underestimate the power of the mind to conjure up things that aren't there, both auditory and visual. So, you know,
And
these
also,
are powerful things.
And also external factors that affect you
External
as well.
stimuli.
Like when they're doing sort of huge amount of building at the top of our road on an old Wick site. And when they were doing the pile driving, I was upstairs at my desk earlier last year and I was feeling a bit queasy and I couldn't understand why I was feeling queasy. And then I looked to my right and I just noticed that a plant in a pot was shaking, just moving sort of subtly. I thought, why on earth is that plant, you know, shaking? And then I heard and sort of felt the pile driving that was going on 600 yards away from us, 700 yards away from us. And I realized at that moment that the pile driving was actually what was making me feel a bit queasy.
The vibrations and the frequency of the vibrations.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like church organs.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why people have experiences in big churches is because the frequency of the church organ is enough to cause the brain to conjure up certain feelings, you know. So, yeah, you know.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that, Eco Joe.
It's an interesting subject.
And it's I mean, you know, churches and church music, they are there to move you. You know, they are there literally to amaze you.
Yeah, but once you know that is an effect, you know, it's something you can rationalize.
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, that's the thing. I think attributing it to a paranormal or godlike experience, you know, it's naive.
But even know, even with us, I mean, you know, I don't believe in God, and when I listen to some choral music or some church music, even when we were watching Father Brown the other day, there was some music, it was a choir singing, and it was like, oh wow, that's amazing, you know. But it was amazing because, of course, it's the human voice working together in unity, producing beautiful sound. That's why.
It's beauty. It's
absolutely
beauty, and beauty can drive us into a joyful state of tearful reverie.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, super duper. Yeah, the brain can play tricks with you. Absolutely.
In fact, Miles, the other day, I'd just spoken to Mum, and it was her birthday, and we were having a really good chat on her birthday, as I said. And then I put on some Tina Turner, and Proud Mary came on. Of course, Mum's name is Mary. And I was moved, as I'm about to be now, I was moved to tears with that song. You know, because my mum has always been incredibly proud of us and of what she and Dad achieved.
Don't start. You'll start everybody off.
But it's true, music can move you, and
But
it often moves you when you least expect it as
but you
well.
won't start me off because I've got a dead heart of stone.
You do,
I
Richard.
do.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tony, yes, the sound of a church bell. I adore the sound of a church
Yeah.
bell, especially if it's in the distance and it's being carried on the wind. I think that to me is so hauntingly beautiful, that it really, it's just lovely. But it doesn't move me to tears.
No. I mean, I'm not moved to tears often. No more than once or twice a day, generally.
You're moved to tears more often than I am.
I was moved to tears in something we were watching the other day. I can't even remember what it was.
I had a slight moment yesterday.
Did you? What, during the day?
I can't quite remember what it was, but it made me feel sort of quite sad. I can't remember what it was. No, I can't pinpoint it. It can't have been that important.
Yeah, Jane, I totally get that. Absolutely. Jane says that she was moved during the choir concert last night. And yeah, totally get that. Really do.
Good.
I would be no good in a choir though, because I can't sing. Somebody did ask earlier what our ages are. Well, I'm going to be 57 on the 24th of July. And how old are you going to be this year?
I'm 39.
And how old are you going to be this year?
56.
39 he's going to be. Yeah.
Gray's Elegy in a Country Churchyard. Yeah, I did that for O-level and I hated it. It was the most boring thing I've ever read in my life. A little bit like the trumpet. We did the trumpet major. God, that put me in a coma. I hated that book.
Tess, yeah.
Oh God, no, Tess. I can't bear it. I watched the film and no.
I like Tess.
I hate films like that.
I do like Tess.
They bore the tits off me. They really do.
Richard?
Well, they
honestly
do. Can you see tits on me? No, you can't. They've been bored off. I'm looking forward to the emergency alarm. I'm looking forward to it because I think it's really interesting. In fact, I even thought about maybe doing a little video and seeing if I could hear everybody else's going off at the same time.
You should be able to, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And apparently you just swipe it like you normally do to stop it or something. So, yeah.
I think it's interesting, but I just hope nobody sets it off accidentally and freaks everybody out. Yeah. Okay. So,
any good
lovely
movies?
Any good? Well, let's come on to the final segment of the day, which is what have we been watching on television this week, Paul?
We watched the final episode and finale of the series of Picard, because they're not doing any more. And it was really good.
Picard has finished and it was excellent, as was the Mandalorian finale as well.
My favourite, I think.
Really good, spectacular and super story. So that was really good. Father Brown, we actually have started rewatching Father Brown at lunchtime. Random episodes.
Yeah, well, we're watching series 8, so they're not that random because we've recorded others on drama or something, but the sound is all tinny on
weird.
A lot of them.
Really weird.
So I thought, I'll listen to this first one on series 8, and the sound was okay, so we're listening to series 8 again. Yeah.
Yes, Michelle, I find that with music as well. That actually, thinking about it, just going back to music again, the best music I enjoy is electronic music that is beaty, full of nice sounds, that's sort of chilled out and sort of lyric free. Because it can be enough for certain tunes and chords to give you an emotional reaction, that marry it with sort of words and sad words and stuff. It can be too much, and old music obviously triggers, memories from the past. So I sort of like abstract electronic dance music that's quite gentle and chilled out. I used to listen to that channel Chill Tracks,
Mm.
which was really good. That always had uplifting stuff.
I think there's another one now, Chilled or something. Or Chill. Was it Chill?
Well, there's been chill for
Yeah,
years.
there's sort of various ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we see the bit after the credits on Picard? Yeah.
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 We did. So yeah, and that's also the kind of music I like to make as well. Lyric free, interesting sounds.
So Miles, yes, they're I think it's called Legacy, and I think it'll have 7 as 9 as the captain.
Yeah, that's what they're looking at, isn't
yeah.
it? I'm not sure whether it's been made yet.
No, it hasn't.
No,
It's
that's
they're
the
saying
rumour.
that it's still it's on the drawing board, but it hasn't been storyboarded. So most probably end of 24, sometime in 25. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, enjoy, Karina. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday for then.
Binaural beats.
I've heard of binaural beats. That's what I've heard of. Yeah. I mean, music can be manipulated in all sorts of ways at certain frequencies to have an effect on the brain as well. So I know that from my music production days. We continue with The Power.
Yes, with Toni Collette.
With Toni Collette.
That's on Prime.
And yeah, it's a little bit heavy in places, to be honest.
It can be, yeah.
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 A little bit heavy, but enjoyable. We have started rewatching. Guess what? Can you guess what we have started rewatching? Have a guess. Go on, I dare you.
It's quite a few decades old. In fact, decades.
No, John, but we're sorely tempted. No, not MSW.
No.
Go on, have another guess. It's a classic.
More rose tinted than that.
No, it's a classic, absolute classic. I'll give you a clue. Yes, Jane. Yeah, you got it. The Golden Girls. Who started rewatching The Golden Girls.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I think we probably will do Schitt's Creek again at some point.
Definitely.
So yeah, we've started watching that. What is it on, Paul?
It's on Disney.
Disney.
We're watching on Disney.
Because we've got a freebie on Disney Plus
for 3 months
at the moment. So we certainly wouldn't pay. And we've actually got it on DVD. So we could watch the whole box set if we wanted to.
Well, if it gets to the end of the 3 months and we haven't watched, we'll watch it on DVD.
Well, we did Blake 7 during lockdown, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, which we thoroughly enjoyed.
Absolutely.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
So yeah,
really,
there
really
you go.
good.
So we also continue with the Magpie Murders.
Which is, it could be a little bit pacier, I think. But yeah, quite. I love Leslie Manville. I really like her, and I like her character. I think there's some really, really fabulous characters and good acting in the series, but it could be a little bit pacier. Yeah.
And that's it. That's
that
it for this
is
week.
it.
Bye.
So what have you been watching? What have you been watching?
Lovely. There you go. Oh, good. Oh gosh,
nice,
don't look too closely.
Yeah.
Don't look too closely. Oh, high definition.
I quite like horror movies. Good horror movies I like. Yeah.
Oh, Paul, really?
Yeah.
You didn't like Hereditary, and that's a good horror movie.
No, I didn't like Hereditary with Toni Collette. I did not like it at all. No, I didn't.
Oh, it was a proper horror movie. That's a proper horror movie. If you really want to get scared and freaked out, watch that. I tell you, lovely. I enjoyed it because I thought it was so freakish.
Beef. Looked at or read about Beef, Gillian. So I think that's on our thing. Sister Boniface, we quite liked. Not as much as Father Brown, but quite liked it.
American Horror
Benedict.
Story. American Horror Story. We started watching, didn't we?
I think we watched
We
the first
got-
2 series.
We got so far and then kind of got a bit bored with it, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Beef is great, Jane is saying. So I think we'll.
What
look
is
at
it?
that. Dead Ringers. Will. Yeah, I watched that yesterday.
What is Beef?
Beef is a new series on, I think, Netflix.
But what is it? What is the genre?
It's about people having a beef with each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Scandi crime. Yeah, we like a little bit of Scandi crime.
But you prefer it in English, don't you? Rather than...
I'm not going to watch. No, I'm sorry. I don't watch things with subtitles.
He's not a subtitle.
I find it immensely distracting. I really do. And I'm also not very good with dubbed things as well.
Badly dubbed things.
Dark
was
quite good.
Yeah, Dark was
that was
dubbed well.
but it was dubbed well. But sometimes it's so obvious that it's dubbed, and it just it puts me off. Puts me off. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, don't watch Real Housewife, things like that.
Do we listen to radio dramas? Well, occasionally we do. We listen to Annika.
Yeah.
We also listened to the adaptation of Alan Garner's The Weird Stone of Brisingamen as well, which is on BBC Sounds, which is a book that I loved as a child. So, yeah.
Not done Succession yet, Jane. We generally get put off when things are really hyped, which Succession seemed to be. We generally get a bit put off. Columbo, yeah, I like a sort of. I wouldn't record or sit down and watch Columbo, but if I sit down and it's on and I'm doing something else on a Sunday afternoon, quite happy to watch it.
I like a little bit of classical. My favourite is Chopin. I love Chopin.
Interestingly, Robin, I was listening to something this morning and they ended the radio programme with some Schubert, and the bit of music that they ended with just sounded like a dirge. It sounded as if it was violinists sort of learning a piece of music. It sounded far too slow to be a proper piece of music. Yeah, didn't like that at all.
Lovely. Super duper.
Okay, thanks, Jane. Yeah.
Great. So, do you know if Susan Hampshire is well? I don't know.
I think so. I think as many of the actors and actresses of her age, she's getting older. She was actually married to a big boss of mine when I was at Theatre Goers Club of Great Britain. She was married to Eddie Kulakundus, who owned the company. So we dealt with Susan quite a lot in, well, that was like 94 to 96, a long time ago.
Great. So we've done the list. We've done the list now.
Yeah, Barry, that's come up as something that we might watch as well. And if you're in the US, do watch Papadopoulos and Sons. It's on various platforms, I now understand, in the US, and it's something that I played a very small part in. I don't mean I played a part as an actor, but I was helping the producer do a few things. So do watch that. It's a lovely film. Papadopoulos and Sons.
Okay, 1 hour 48. We're going to say goodbye now because it's time for us to go and get some lunch.
It is, yeah.
To have some lunch and to carry on with the chores that require doing.
And I'm going to get some brassicas in this afternoon as the final segment of A Week at the Plot.
And what are you going to do with those brassicas, Paul?
We're going to eat them because they're spring cabbage.
Ooh,
the ones I have already put in, snails and slugs have got to them. So, yeah.
What, new ones?
Ones I put in about 3 weeks ago, sadly.
Wow,
yeah.
Paul, you didn't protect them adequately enough.
Well, I did the thing of planting through cardboard like so many other people do successfully.
No.
For me, it doesn't work.
No, because they come up under the cardboard,
They do,
don't they?
because slugs live in the soil.
Personally, Paul, I think you should have known that.
Gosh, there's a lot.
Philomena Kunk, yes.
Yes.
Very funny.
Yeah. Right.
Lovely. So take care,
Everyone.
everyone. Have a good day. Enjoy what's left of your day. If it's the middle of the night, enjoy tomorrow.
Mm. And thank you, Jane, for being on there and administrating.
Yes, thank you, Jane. Jane's one of our moderators,
Mm.
and we're very grateful, Jane. I hope...
Moderating, yeah, not administrating.
No,
moderating.
Paul, that's right.
I'm getting a lot of words muddled up at the moment.
What's new?
Yeah, that's true.
It's not anything new with you, Paul. So thank you very much, everybody, and take care. We will see you next Sunday.
Yeah, we will.
What are you doing?
Well, there was just a lot of things coming through.
Yeah, people are saying goodbye,
Yeah,
Paul.
I know,
Don't
I know.
just stop ruining it, Paul.
Oh, I can't go on.
So yeah, have a good day, and we'll see you next week. And Paul will see you in the week, and of course we'll see you on Planet Vegetaria for his week at the slots.
That's a gambling one, isn't it? Yeah.
Paul will be gambling in Las Vegas next week at the slots.
Yeah. And as Robin says, bananas.
Bananas. Big bananas.
Big bananas.
Yellow bananas. Bananas in pajamas are coming down the stairs. That used to freak me out.
It was a bit bizarre. Yeah.
Okay. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye, all.
Thank you, bloody thank you. We're going now.
Oh, you sounded like that Saturday Night Live with the 4 sisters singing.
Thank you, bloody thank you. Take care.
Bye, all.
Bye now. Bye.
Bye.